Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Space Engineers. And today we are going to be taking a look at the menu for you new players out there, hoping to maybe give you guys a little bit understanding kind of what's going on, all the different options you can choose for your games, and a couple of options you may want to have on for your games if you intend on playing with mods or scripts. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right into things. So the first place we want to visit is going to be under our options menu. Now, there isn't much I want to really talk about here, but what I really want to hit is right here under gameplay. And that is, if you plan on playing with scripts or with modding enabled, you need to turn on experimental mode, which will be here in this menu. Another thing you can do in this menu is if you find that your control hints, the good bot hints, or the rotation hints are a little annoying, this is kind of where you turn them off. So with that, let's kind of jump into maybe starting a new game. Take a quick look on kind of how easy that can be. So to start a new game, we got to, hit new game. But then we have this menu, which does give us several options. Now, with the scenarios, these are going to be like different scenarios that we can play throughout Space Engineers. They have objectives, they have tasks that need to be completed. And once you decide you want to play it, you can't really make any changes to the scenarios. You just kind of have to play them as they are intended. With that, we're going to jump right into our workshop items, which are different maps, worlds that you can find in the Steam workshop. And it appears my internet is offline, so it's not going to pull any of them, but if I did have worlds that I have subscribed to on Steam, this is where they would be. Now, something to note with worlds from the Steam workshop is when you load them in, you have to load them in as they are intended. You cannot add any mods to them. You can't change any settings from here. You have to start the game as it's intended, and then you can change settings after you've created the world. So that's just kind of a little something to note with that. Now, alternatively, we can also go to custom game. Now, with custom game, there's a lot of different starting scenarios available. Most popular that you're going to see is either going to be the empty world, which is great for building, or the star system. Now, once you've selected kind of how you want to start, you have this menu over here, which kind of helps customize that scenario for you. So let's take a quick look at a few things under the advanced menu options here. All right, going into our advanced menu here, we have a few world options that we can sit here and put into effect. Now, a lot of them are self-explanatory, but there are a few of them that if you're not quite sure what you're looking at can be a little bit tricky. So the first of which is going to be your environment hostility. All that does is spawn in meteor strikes that can damage your grids and your bases, but you do get different ore as a reward from what came down in the meteor. Now, the challenge is making sure those meteors just not striking your grids. The other option that can be a little confusing at this upper part is the asteroid amount. It's not really confusing. It's just once you've selected that, you can't change that once you've started the game. So just kind of keep that kind of as a note. Now, scrolling down through the menu, we're going to run across this total PCU. What is PCU? Well, every block in the game is assigned a PCU cost. And the more blocks you have out increases the amount of PCU you are using. Now, when you've maxed out, you can't place any more blocks. And you have to actually like grind down and destroy blocks to be able to build more. This is kind of something you really want if you're playing on lower end systems, older systems, or if you're playing on a server and you don't want people to build these huge monstrosities and you want to kind of limit to what they can build. Now, with that, we're going to kind of scroll down to all these check boxes down here. And I do want to just kind of draw your attention to just a few of them. First off, this enable spectator. What is the spectator? The spectator is a free cam. It can go through objects, it can go through planets, it can go as far out as you want it. So if you want your players or yourself to be able to do that whenever you want, you just click that box. Another option right here is our in-game scripts. If you're going to be playing with scripting, that is also a box you want checked. Scrolling down through the list, we run into unsupported stations. All that is if you build a base in an area that is affected by gravity, such as moons or planets, or in moon or planet gravity fields, it allows, and you would cut whatever that support is, that base doesn't fall to the ground if you have unsupported stations clicked on. If you have it off, if you were to cut the legs off such a base, it would fall to the ground and possibly crash and burn and blow up and cause mass hysteria. Another couple options that we're moving right along. Another couple options we can look at is wolves and spiders. Those are just NPCs that will attack you. They are annoying, but they will do that. And lastly, as we kind of get down to the bottom, there's only a couple here. First, there's progression. And all that is when you play the game starting off, you cannot build all the blocks right off the bat unless you're playing creative. Now, they have a progression tree that you have to kind of move through. I highly suggest at least the first few times you kind of play through this to kind of get a feel through kind of how they intended for you to progress through the game. And then promptly, just once you get annoyed with it, just making sure that menu option is turned off, because I believe that is another one that you cannot change once the game has started. Now, lastly, we're going to address this economy and bounty contracts. If those are both turned on, economy will spawn in neutral stations that you can trade and purchase or pick up bounty contracts to do in the world to gain credits, earn favor, and possibly buy some pretty interesting things early game. So now that we've kind of gone through at least the big ones, we're going to kind of go into what's left in the menu, because once we kind of go through here, we'll hit cancel here. All we have to choose is whether we're playing creative or survival. And those should be kind of pretty self-explanatory options. We could select mods, and I will be doing a video on how to actually add mods to your game, but that won't be for today, because right now I want to get into how do we go from starting a new game to how do I make changes to a game I've already started. So with that, we just need to exit back out to our main menu. Right, once we're in our menu, we're going to head down to load game. Now, this kind of pulls up this list of all of these games we have, but something we can also, it pulls up is these different options along the side. So what we're going to kind of take a quick look at is if we go to edit settings, it pulls up our world menu options, which does allow us to go and make changes to the world if we need to make them. If we select mods, we can change out what mods that we're using in the world. I do suggest, though, be careful with that, because if you have some ships that require specific mods to work, you could cause your ships to explode and die horrible deaths, or your game may just not load. So, little word with changing the mods in a world that you've already started, just be careful. And make sure that anything that is dependent on the mods isn't in the world when you turn off the mods. Now, with that, we're going to kind of quickly go through, and I want to kind of explain what the publish is. If I was to click publish, it allows me to select tags and upload the map to Steam or Mod.io if you have linked your Mod.io account. And that's kind of about it. If you find that you need to kind of pull up a backup, if you select backup, it pulls up the last 5 previous saves for each world if you have that as your maximum backups. But with all of that, this is just kind of the menu and all the fun things that you can do before you even start the game. So I'm hoping this wasn't too boring with you. I know it's more nitty-gritty than most people like, but I'm assuming since you're watching this video that you needed something in here to learn. If I completely missed the mark and there's something else you want to know, let me know in the comments down below. If you're an experienced Space Engineers player and you realize I forgot something or completely glossed over something that you think I should have addressed, please also let me know down below. Hopefully we can get a good conversation going about that. And if you liked the video, please like the video. If you liked me, please subscribe. And if you want more videos like this as I progress through all of these different tutorials and some gameplay hopefully coming up here soon, then please make sure you turn on notifications. Until then, I'm the Kilted Bastard. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day,